Hey, today we've got news on a secret buff that the Arrowhead developers didn't mention in their patch notes. We'll go over an incredible weapon that's best used on the Jet Brigade, and there's much more to discuss. As always, if you can show your support, please hit the like button below and consider subscribing with notifications turned on. First and foremost, you're probably wondering about the Arrowhead developers' secret buff. Well, they've done something quite remarkable with the Airburst rocket launcher. I'm sure you're all familiar with this weapon, and while it wasn't terrible when it was first released, it definitely wasn't a go-to for many Helldivers. Now, when the big patch dropped recently, the developers had a note for the Airburst rocket launcher regarding the reloading being increased. However, not only did it receive an increased reload speed, but it also got a damage buff as well. Before I show you my in-game footage, it's fair to give the right person credit for it and for the discovery. There's a leaker from the Helldivers 2 leaks named Exelius, who is also a member of the Helldivers 2 community on Reddit. This member created a post and wrote, "With 1.001.104, the ABRL received a reload speed buff. This was labeled as 7 seconds, 5 seconds, but was closer to 4.9 seconds, 3.7 seconds, due to reload canceling. However, the bomblet shared a damage ID with frag grenades. This means each bomblet went from doing 250 damage, 500 damage. This is a total of 4,250 for the direct hit, bomblet direct hits, rocket AoE, this hasn't changed, and 12,500 damage for the bomblet AoE, up from 6,250. So you might be wondering, how does this person know that it's been buffed? Well, if you're on PC and have access to the in-game files, you can take a peek at this stuff within the files, which is why I mentioned the leaker. So with that being said, Exelius discovered that the bomblets share a damage ID with the frag grenades, and so what I decided to do was to see how big of a change this actually was. And well, I started off with the Hulks. It seemed only right considering they're almost the same as Chargers in terms of it being a large enemy. The damage though was actually surprising. I managed to one-shot Hulks, but after some testing I found out that the more compact the Hulk is with other objects, it seemed to one-shot the Hulk. Maybe it's due to all the explosives being condensed in one spot, but if you also fire the rocket under the Hulk's legs, that's a great spot that will destroy the battery on their back. The second enemy I tested this on was the Chargers. It's super easy to take down a Charger type like Bile Chargers. It can one-shot them as well as normal Chargers. I don't recall it being this strong against Chargers in the past, but it's definitely worth using on them, as well as Hulks. Also, here's a quick tip. You can use the Airburst rocket to destroy fabricators if you aim directly at the vents, and that goes the same with the Shrieker Nest. Not only that, it's incredibly powerful now against patrol spawns or enemies grouped together in one spot. So if you haven't used this stratagem in quite some time, I suggest giving it another go and seeing what your thoughts are on it. If you didn't know about the recent changes to the Airburst rocket launcher, then tap the like button below the video to let me know. We're now going to talk about the laser pistol, better known as the Last 7 dagger. It's quite useful against the newest automaton enemy types, the Jet Brigade. If these pesky little toaster bots jetpack towards you, I recommend equipping the laser pistol. You'll notice how useful it is right away, and the Jet Brigade bots will start exploding without much trouble. If you're up for it, you can also use a loadout like the scythe or the sickle to take them out. Not only that, but you can also equip the dagger, of course, and stun grenades are great, as are thermite grenades. Use whichever you're comfortable with. For stratagems, feel free to use what fits your playstyle, but I'd recommend a shield or supplies just in case. You never know when you might need it, especially since the bots can shoot from long range. Okay, moving on, let's go over the latest major order. We failed at defending Matar Bay, but there's a chance we can complete the major order now. Currently, we're tasked with defending Martel. At the time of making this video, there are 30,000 players on Matar Bay, but Martel is steadily gaining more Helldivers on the battlefield. We can't succeed if we get enough divers on the planet to defend it. Sure, we could have stayed at Matar Bay, but that would actually be the wrong move. According to the Helldivers 2 companion app, staying would take about 6 days to liberate, and we certainly don't have enough time for that. The best strategy right now is to continue defending Martel, and you know, I certainly would like to pull off a gambit on the planets, but it's not the right move, and sometimes it's best to avoid such risk. In this situation, it's best to focus on defending the planet that needs it. So if you didn't know, head over to Martel right now and let's get this major order finished as soon as possible. Now, the most crucial aspect of the entire major order that many of you might be overlooking is that the new Jet Brigade enemy types will eventually be worn down. The recent dispatch talks about the situation, and right here it says, The Automatons force led by the Jet Brigade has taken Matar Bay. A subsequent invasion of the one adjacent planets is imminent. However, the lives lost were not in vain. The Jet Brigade sustained heavy losses, which will reduce the strength of their next attack. A planet has been lost, and more may follow, but a vigorous defense will wear down this invasion force over time. This right here is very important as it plays a part in the whole major order. We might not succeed in defending Martel, but we certainly will wear down the Jet Brigade, allowing us to eventually win a defense. If we stop now, the situation will get worse. We absolutely have to continue fighting back until the forces are lowered. This also is why the liberation rate is so high. Eventually it will be lowered once we fight back enough. On a different note, I think it's important to discuss the drill bug in the nursery mission. I'm sure some of you have encountered this issue recently, and even before the major update that dropped a week ago. The developers are aware of the bug and are currently tracking the issues. There was a member of the Helldivers 2 Discord who mentioned that the host couldn't interact with the drill. This right here isn't the only problem with the mission, but as I mentioned, the developers are tracking these issues. A support team member named Roberts responded to this player saying, "We are aware of the drill issues and it's being tracked for our developers." If you didn't notice, he mentions drill issues, implying there are multiple problems. This is likely why it's taken a bit longer than expected for it to be patched, mainly because there are several issues revolving around the drill, and I'm sure they'll get everything patched up as soon as possible, possibly in the next big update, or there might be a hotfix. The reason I bring this up is that another member mentioned experiencing the same situation, but other players in the lobby could interact with the drill, and Roberts responded to this member with, "Yeah, this one is attached to the same area. We are aware of that too. The scientists who designed these screens didn't make them user-friendly enough." Well, as you can tell, they're looking into all the issues surrounding the nuke nursery mission, and I suspect they're also addressing the floating drill bug and how to resolve it and whatnot. So at the moment, it seems we'll have to wait and see what the Arrowhead developers plan to do next, whether that's releasing a patch or a hotfix. If you've experienced any bugs in the nursery mission, let me know if you've encountered a completely different glitch or bug by posting a response below in the comment section. Alright, next I have an interesting topic to bring up, and although it wasn't mentioned in the video title, there have been several comments on the official Helldivers 2 Discord from players who think the 500 kg bomb was stealth nerfed, meaning it was nerfed but not mentioned in the patch notes. I saw these comments and decided to test it out to see if there were indeed any issues with it, and I will say I noticed something odd when the 500 kg bomb hit the ground near a charger. As you can see in this clip, it gets tossed forward, and the bomb's shell landed right behind its weak spot, and it survived. That's strange, right? But I don't think it was stealth nerfed. If anything, it's probably a stratagem bug. I've tried it out on the Bloodstains, didn't see any problems with it, and I think it's just a bug. If you use it on the Hulk, it's the same thing, but the reason why it's not destroying the Hulk or the Charger, it's because it depends on whether the shell lands directly on it or very, very close near it, at least from my testing. Again, I don't think it was stealth nerf, but more of a, bug, or there has to be some sort of direct damage from the shell. Sure, someone out there could say, well, the Charger probably has more health, but the Bloodstains has about 6,000 health, and the Chargers, I believe, are like 2,400 or 2,400, so I don't think that's the case. We're going to put that aside and go over a loadout that you guys have suggested in the comments in the last video. If you don't know, I've been asking for your own loadout suggestions and given my review about it. It's been really cool to see all the submissions, and what we have today is a bot loadout that's pretty good. And there's a reason for that, which I'll get into. But first, we have a loadout recommended by Deadly Apollo, which is called the Super Soldier. What we have is the explosive crossbow for taking out fully shielded Scout Striders, enemies that are in groups, Devastators, Rocket Devastators. I mean, you can't go wrong using this weapon. It's good for all sorts of bots besides the much tankier ones like Factory Striders. Next, we got the secondary Last 7 Dagger, the good old laser pistol that is incredible as of late when it comes to fighting Jet Brigaders. It one-shots them as well as Devastators if you can aim directly where the head is, and that goes for most enemies. For grenades, the Thermite is recommended, of course. That's great to use on Hulks, Fabricators, and tanks. The armor recommendation is any heavy type armor with the fortified passive. Next, the offensive stratagems are the 500 kg bomb that can be good against Hulks, but it really depends on where it lands. They can't actually survive the explosion, but overall it's great on tanks, Hulks, and groups of enemies. The second stratagem on the list is the Strafing Run that recently was buffed, and that can be used on Fabricators, groups of bots, and tanks. Lastly, for support stratagems, we have a ballistic shield to block incoming fire, which is awesome. but it can be risky if you try to block a rocket hit. Although it will help, it's still risky. Overall thoughts, I like it mainly due to the laser pistol, which allows us to one-shot jet brigaders. The quasar cannon is always fun to use and powerful. The 500 kg bomb can be unreliable at times when trying to destroy hulks, so I'd probably opt for something different like the orbital precision strike. The shield is amazing at blocking damage, but you do have to worry about rockets, so I'm going to give this 4 out of 5 John Helldivers. It's a great loadout, fun and effective, but the shield is a little iffy at times, as well as the 500 kg bomb. So far, we've talked about the major order, bugs, loadouts, and now what I'd like to go over is the report menu. This is a big one for a majority of you who have encountered a hacker or you've come across someone being malicious in some sort of way. So with that being said, as of right now, and ever since the game was first released, the reporting feature doesn't really work at all. If you go to the menu right now, there's no way to send your report, and the reason for that, well, is Sony's PSN link requirement was going to assist with the reports. This is why currently it's useless and there's no reason for it. If you would like the proof on this, if you check out this post created 5 months ago, Baskineer wrote this at the time. Sony has a dedicated team, a bandit pill process, and tools to take action on the player reports, and it's all connected to having a PSN ID. Yeah, so as you can see, the reporting feature was supposed to be linked with the PSN requirement. However, after we all pushed back against the Lincoln system, it became a redundant feature. This is also the main reason why the reporting function isn't working currently. There have been numerous discussions about Sony addressing the block on regions, but there hasn't been an update on whether these regions will be unblocked. It's a victory that feels like a loss because we still haven't received any information and it's been quite a while since the regions were blocked. Hopefully we'll get some news on this next year or sooner, rather, so we can understand what's really happening. But as of right now, if you're wondering, that's why the report function is practically useless. Speaking of features, Arrowhead has confirmed they do not plan on adding support for controllers on PC, nor vice versa keyboards for consoles. A support team member named Roberts confirmed this on the official Helldivers 2 Discord when he responded to a player and replied with, "So we do not support controllers for PC, same with console and keyboard. It's not something that's on our scope at the minute, so any help regarding this would have to be from the community." That's the answer to that, and is it a big deal? Probably not, but on the other hand, if you enjoy using a controller or prefer a keyboard, you might want support for it. Sadly, it's not going to be supported anytime soon. Last but not least, I saw this post by BJ Gobble, don't know if I should say that username, never mind. This member that's a part of the Reddit community for Helldivers 2 showed this diagram here that they created. So basically, if you have light armor, you can swim also, and it shows that you would receive stagger, stagger, and then ragdolled. Then for medium armor, flinch, stagger, ragdoll, and lastly, heavy armor, you would get some sort of ricochet, flinch, and then there would be a stagger, but there wouldn't be any ragdoll. And this apparently got 11,000 upvotes. Clearly, this has to be something that you would like to see as well, so I would love to know your thoughts on this. I think this is perfect. There definitely should be a way to swim across rivers or lakes or whatnot, and you know, if you can do it with the light armor only, I think that's justifiable. But hey, again, I would love to know your thoughts on this. Comment down below and let's have a great discussion about it. With all the information being said, this is your Helldivers 2 news. If you guys would like to be featured in the next video, comment down below because you might just be featured. Right now, we're going to go over the top 3 comments. The first comment is by Redstone Ninja 3752. Fans are happy, fake fans are crying, and should go back to Warzone. If you guys don't know what this person is referring to, check out yesterday's video. There's been quite a few reports of people, you know, saying, hey, we want the Senator nerf. We want the developers to discuss the AP4 and whatnot. I'll show a few of the comments here and I'll make sure to block their names out. But anyways, you get the point. There's a lot of players out here that are upset about the Senator and they want it to be nerfed, and I think it's actually crazy. The second comment is by Lee the Eagle 7264. TF, you mean fans are unhappy. The game has never felt better. And that right there is basically the same response to the Senator news and all the comments. The last and final comment is by Luigi84 or the Luggy84. 650, those 5% are either on crack or trolling. Having to shoot a Bile Titan 30-40 plus times in the face is too powerful. Come on now. Yep, I actually agree with all of you. This right here is ridiculous, and I'm glad we all went over it to kind of talk about it so we know what we all want as a community, and that is for the game to be fun, not nerf. With all the comments out of the way, thank you guys for watching the video. I truly appreciate it, and every time you guys do watch these videos, from the bottom of my heart, thank you guys. It truly means a lot, and I can't reiterate that or repeat it enough to, express how thankful I am. But thank you guys, and I'll see you guys in the next video.